just say this: pew sitting is not a spiritual gift. You may be real good at it, but that's not a spiritual gift. But each of us has a spiritual gift. And see, one of the sad things in churches is there's a lot of church members who have no clue what their spiritual gift is. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, they've never tried to find out by serving. Or number two, they have a false Christianity and they don't know Him. That's the only two things I can think of that would be a reason why I didn't know what God had gifted me to do, what my spiritual gifts were. Number one, I've never dug into it. I've never tried to get involved to find out what I'm good at. Or number two, I don't know it because I don't have one. That's the only thing I can think of. We all, if you have called on the name of Christ and He has changed your life, you have certain spiritual gifts to be used. And He wants you to be doing that. Do what God's gifted you to do. Leave others to do what He gifted them to do. And then we can't be jealous of what the grace of God has produced in the life of another believer. Figure out what you're good at and devote yourself to honoring God with that gift. I used to get so jealous of people that I would see be able to play the piano and sing at the same time. I used to think, God, why didn't I learn how to play the piano? I had the chance. Didn't want to take piano lessons. I'd rather play Little League baseball or basketball or wherever, something outside that didn't take any practice for me to have to do, that I could just go do. And so I never learned to play the piano. But I would get jealous of people. Had a really good friend in high school, and man, he could play the piano and he could sing, and girls loved that. They used to drive me nuts. I'd think, man, why can't I do that too? But you know what? We can't be jealous of a gift that somebody else has been given by the grace of God. We just need to major on our gift and use it to serve Him. Because we have a diversity in Christian service. And God has gifted you to do what He's gifted you to do for a specific reason. So do it. Do it. Man, whether that is, being a great evangelist like Billy Graham or building sets for VBS or whatever. If God's gifted you to do it and do it proudly for His glory. Because there is a responsibility of Christian service. We have a responsibility to do that. That's why it's a priority. What is our responsibility? Well, there's a few things. We have a responsibility of loyalty to Him with our spiritual gift. We've got to be loyal to the call God has given us and use our talents and gifts for Him, and do that with all of our heart, no matter what it is. Teaching, singing, sweeping, writing, leading, whatever. Loyalty. And then love. We have to be devoted to one another, and brotherly love is what Paul said. He's telling us we're to serve together and love one another as part of the same body. Respect and treasure each other in our diversity. And we have a responsibility to labor. He said, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need and practice hospitality. We are to labor for the Master. We are to be serving. We are not called to watch other people do God's work. We are called to work for Him. And he also talked about zeal. We're not to be lazy about it. We're to work hard for Him. Joyful in hope. We're to be enthusiastic as we serve Him. Nothing worse than somebody serving the Lord than saying, man, I sure don't want to be doing this. We're to share. Be ready to help God's people when they're in need. And then he said, have hospitality. We need to be eager to help folks. Eager to practice hospitality. Oh, we're good at making excuses for why we can't serve. We're so good at that. We need to be finding reasons we can serve, finding places that need us to serve. David Augsburger in the 70 by 7, The Freedom of Forgiveness, said this: "There are no excuses for neglect of service. General William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, lost his eyesight. His son was given the difficult task of telling his father there would be no recovery. He said, 'Do you mean that I'm blind and I shall never see your face again?' 'No, probably not in this world,' his son told him. And the General Booth said, 'Bramwell, I have done what I could do for God and for His people with my eyes. Now I'll do what I can for God without my eyes.'" No reason for neglect. No excuses. I'm reminded of the Casting Crowns song, and I'm sure a lot of you know it. I love it. But it asks us the question. It says, if we are the body, why aren't His arms reaching? Why aren't His hands healing? Why aren't His words teaching? If we are the body, why aren't His feet going? If we're His body, we're His hands, His arms, His hands, His words, His feet. We should be serving if we are His body. Why aren't we? Service has to be a priority for all of us as a Christian. Service has to be a priority, and it should be the outflow of those other things that we've talked about. Love, worship, evangelism. Service flows right out of all that. Are we serving in the areas we're gifted? Are we even looking to serve in the area we're gifted? Or are we watching a few people do all the work? I dare you. I dare you. Ask God what your gift is, and then see if you can use it for His glory. I dare you. It'll change your life. Let's pray. Father, thank you for your grace and your mercy and